すぐ着くから、それからやるか。無駄な時間を過ごすこともねえべ。一気に楽になるからな。
What do you think you're doing? Thank the law. I've been requisitioning backup for months. Guess the boss finally came to his senses. You ever swung a truncheon? The war! The coming apocalypse! Man versus machine! I'm talking about mechanical soldier. Cold, heartless... Oh, they mean to. Just you wait. Auto-mechanicals. Creatures forged in the fires of malevolence. I seen them over by the old power plant. Clattering about. Firing at the birds. Orchestrating their uprising. When the swarms of mechanicals come clanging on over that hill, you can gird yourself in the armor of righteousness, soldier. From this moment on, you are a proud member of the Resistance. They have sent a scout, prowling around the junkyard just behind our beloved town. This scout must not be permitted to return to its base of operations. Cross it off, then report back. I told Silas I'd pay my dues if he agreed to join the Resistance. Guess this means he's finally heard the calling. Mechanical repellent! A stroke of inspiration from the law itself. Here, I've been saving up a couple bits for just such a project. Go on. I'm Ludwig Miller, Associate Security Officer for Transportation. Officially? Unofficially? Go on. You ever seen the way a mechanical just stands there? Just looking at you, scanning you. Mechanicals have been programmed to eliminate the human race. They've been programmed to replace us. First they will rob us of our job. Go on. I'm Ludwig Miller, Associate Security Officer for Transportation. Officially? Unofficially?
What do you think you're doing?
突然湧くよな。
What do you think you're doing?
いなかったね。どっから湧いてくんねん、おい。 ずはあれか、仲間が先に行かんようになるね。
Yes, what is it? You're an outsider. Fantastic. Vicar Maximilian de Soto, at your service. Or Vicar Max, if you're the sort who prefers brevity. I so rarely get new people to talk to. Mechanical tomfoolery is well out of my purview. I suggest you take such matters to Mr. Thompson in the cannery. Oh, and a word of warning. If you're considering wandering around, marauders are about. Though if you are planning on venturing outside, I do have a proposition that may interest you. One of the reasons I transferred here was to fulfill my duty in hunting down banned heretical texts. I happen to know such a book is, as we speak, tainting a collector's library in Emerald Vale. However, the collector's residence lies outside the town's walls. My retrieval efforts have been thwarted by marauders who have overrun. I just want to keep the writing out of layman's hands. It wouldn't do for such information to fall into public consumption. Glad we see eye to eye. It's a handwritten journal, a faded blue Thank you. If you retrieve it, you can always find me here. Any progress on that matter, please get it. A religious text deemed heretical by the OSI is an unsafe object at large, though I understand why a collector would desire to possess such a rare book. Because I'm also I've never seen you before, and there's been no paperwork indicating a transfer. Half the time it's wrong, but a new worker without paperwork? Unheard of. Also, you lack the distinct... I merely meant to say that you're not beaten down by... You know what? Forget it. You have my They who are not satisfied with their work are satisfied with... The OSI teaches that the grant... That's not how it works. Obviously. Look. The Order of Scientific Mock me all you want. What would you like to discuss? They who are not satisfied... Selling? No. It is free for all who seek it. What would you like to discuss?
It's not the best choice, it's Spacer's choice. And before you ask, you ought to go have a talk with the boss, Reed Thompson. He's up. Go right ahead. What, you mean Edgewater? That's a peculiar question. This a test? Am I being tested right now? It's, fine and dandy. You are condescending to me, and I do not care for it. I am lucky to have my work, lucky to be alive. I don't get paid for banter. Was there something you needed? Go right ahead. Other than yourself? Definitely the vicar. Don't get me wrong. He seems a decent man, cut from church cloth, knows his scriptures. But there's something about him that bothers me. Like he's not... Plague? I don't know anything about a plague. We are the very picture of hot-blooded physical vigor. You have got the wrong idea about me. I've got nothing that needs hiding. Some of us who get sick are liable to exaggerate. Survival of the fittest. It ain't just the law of nature. It's company policy. Medical treatment is commensurate with our value to society. Then the hand of medical science will not grace you with its touch, and you must recover on the virtue of your own grit. Listen, you mind if we talk about something else? It's not the best choice. Music to my ears.
You read the latest report?
I don't know you. Amelia Kim, Spacer's Choice Beverage Dispenser. I don't know what you're about, but this here's a Spacer's Choice drinking establishment. We're all loyal, hard-working company folk here. You really think so? That's kind of you. I've been trying to keep the floors clean. You got no idea how long it takes to scrub the tiles. Guess I misreckoned you. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to be curt. We just got some problems lately. I can get you a drink if you'd like. Gotta ask you to enjoy your beverage within... Traitors. The lot of them. Bunch of folks decided they were tired of working and went out into the wilds to fend for their own selves. Town's already struggling to make quotas, even without that band of slackwits abandoning their posts. Bunch of lazy, shiftless rung leeches. Anyway, do you now? And what makes you think Mr. Thompson wants to talk to you? He's a busy man. You want to talk to Mr. Thompson, try ignoring your duties. He'll summon you up to that. It is a good thing. Go ahead. I don't see how that's any of your business. And there's no need for you to pry either. Ugh, is this the start of a joke? Coming right up. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm contractually obligated to recite company slogans to any visitors. You tried the best, now try the rest. Go ahead. The Hope? No, I've never mixed a drink by that name. I could get you a rum and something if you like. Wait, no, never mind. We're all out of something. You feeling a bit flushed? Then pretend you're drunk. Sober folk don't talk the way you are. Not unless they're looking for a trip to Tartarus. The Hope's folklore, all right? 60, 70-year-old folklore by now. The board don't approve of spreading seditious rumors and falsehoods. You're inviting trouble talking that way. Look, either shut your gob or... Coming right up.
If you're falling sick, I don't want you near me.
Don't worry. I wouldn't do that.
Spacer's Choice, the brand. Music to my ears.
Keep your distance, friend. Sick house is no place for a traveler. That's a take a waste of company ammo. Something's not. Open fire! I earned a fine bonus. Waste of company ammo. I'm jumping at shadows here. What was it? Select a fine bounty!
Merciful law. Is that a marauder's outfit? I don't want you wandering into my shop wearing something you've lifted off a corpse. Please don't touch anything. Your hands are probably crawling with germs. Physical hygiene recapitulates more. This is what happens when you eat with your fingers. I'm Conrad. You will report to me if your hair fails to meet Spacer's Choice aesthetic standards. You will also report to me in the event of your death, whereupon I will... A ship? Dear me. You seem to have lost the ability to distinguish between reality and fantasy. This is what happens when you let your imagination run wild. I don't approve of fantasizing. It's a dreadful habit. And he allowed you to wander around town spreading your pernicious fantasies about... He doesn't seem to like us much. The vicar has no... Go ahead. Edgewater has been good to me. I consider myself privileged to work here. I am never wanting for work, not since the plague. The plague's come at us with a vengeance this year. Lost 6 workers in as many months. I wouldn't call them good work. Fever, chills, fatigue, aching. Company policy, friend. We don't have enough medicine to treat all of us, so we treat the best. Mr. Thompson's brainchild. Have you met him yet? Thoughtful-looking fellow, stares out of his office. Ah, gravesite fees. Silas, I mean that I can't possibly pay my gravesite fees. I simply cannot afford it. I am a blemish on the prosperity of our fair settlement. When I expire, I expect Silas to toss my body into a ditch. With what? My own blood? Tell Silas I can't afford to pay, and that I fully expect to have my medical rights revoked for this dereliction. With my apologies. Some time ago, I fell ill with the plague. By the grace of the law, and through my own hard work, I'd proven worthy of treatment. Frankly, I don't imagine I'll... Not a bad idea. But I'd need some kind of collateral. My pair of lucky clippers. No, that won't do. Your idea intrigues me, but I'm afraid I don't have anything to give Silas. I'm open to... Much obliged. You trying to get us all in trouble? What do you think you're doing? Hey, that's against regular... What do you think you're doing?
Yes, Mr. Thompson. I'm fine, Mr. Thompson. Never been healthier. Oh, sweet merciful law. Wait a second. I heard marauders don't talk much. You can talk just fine. Mr. Thompson send you to put the fear in me? Well, you tell Mr. Thompson I'll be right at my post. You some sort of wandering alienist? Walking into a man's own domicile, pestering him about his mental... What? No. I mean, I might be. That depends on who's asking. Silas knows, doesn't he? That's why he sent you. That's why he wants me to pay up. He knows. Sounds like he's already told you. You may as well hear it from me. I'm dying. I'm not long for this world. The date of my expiration is fast approaching, and soon I shall be ushered through the great cannery in the skies. It's plague. Has to be. Silas knows. He knows I got one foot in my grave, and now he wants to charge me for the other one. I am? Law, help me. Paranoia is one of the plague's known symptoms. I'll pay your fees. I don't want any trouble from Silas. But if you could see a way to freelancing for me, I could really use the help. There's a cache of anthracillin tucked away in the old community center. Powerful stuff. Stronger than what we got, anyway. I need you to break in, nab that medicine, and bring it back to me. I'll do what I can. I tried medicating myself with adrenatime. Didn't do much for me, as far as I can tell. Anyway, I can't just buy medicine. Distribution of medicine is strictly prohibited. More like the company won't treat... You will not... I have it on good authority. So you'll do it then? You oblige me with your haste. I think I feel the plague spreading. Oh, law, it's in my spleen now. I can feel it. Just keep your head down when you're in there. I know that. But I got nobody else to turn to. Reed would have wrote me up.
You're making a mistake working for Abernathy. Excuse me. I'm Esther Blaine, Spacer's Choice Actuary. I overheard your talk with Abernathy. I hope you're not thinking about getting him that medicine. Abernathy is a well-known hypochondriac. I probably shouldn't tell you. Don't want you implicated for what I'm trying to do. Alright, here's a summary. A lot of sick people in this town, and we don't have the medicine to treat them all. Can't reach out to corporate without crossing a river of red tape, so I'm reaching out to you. I'm paid better than Abernathy. Whatever he's giving you, I will do you one better. That's all I can ask of you.
Almost lost a finger in the cannery today.
At least you got your health.
Welcome to the Spacer's Choice Constabulary. We are Halcyon's leading brand in frontier justice. The office is writing up promotion, purchased 3 criminal investigations, and as a Spacer's Choice constable, I am authorized to grant you legal authority toward apprehending wanted criminals. Know how to carry yourself in a fight? I've got bounties out for these 3 marauders. Cross them off and bring me their fingers. Just 1 per marauder, please. I'll dust off the old thing. As long as your questions fall within the acceptable. His likeness decorates many a wanted poster. Do you have any relevant information about this individual? You are correct. An outstanding bounty has been posted for information pertaining to the whereabouts of Phineas V. Wells. Unfortunately, the arrest of Mr. Wells falls outside my authority. I enforce the company policy of Spacer's Choice in the region of Emerald Vale. Wells is wanted by the board. If you have information related to the location of Phineas V. Any information regarding outstanding bounties and wanted criminals should be directed to Mr. Udom, Halcyon's original colony ship, now repurposed into a space station. Mr. Udom Bedford represents the board's interest on the Groundbreaker. Something else I can do for you? As long as your questions fall within the... If this is a setup to a joke, you should know I've never found anything amusing in my life. I don't serve Edgewater. Edgewater in the entire region of Emerald Vale. Spacer's Choice is a wholly owned subsidiary of Universal Defense Logistics, which occupies a seat on the Halcyon Holdings Corporation, also known as the Board. I must admit, flattery won't get you anywhere with me. The bureaucracy is a noble profession, but not all of us are gifted. Something to report? As long as your questions fall within the acceptable...
Friend of mine died a couple weeks back. Still ain't past it.
Just the way it goes, I suppose.
Hey, you hear about Wilson?
Heard Marauders got in.
Just between us.
What do you think you're doing?
Hey, you hear about Wilson?
Heard Marauders got in.
Just between us. Wilson deserted.
regulation. You the new worker? Whatever. Make it quick, Tenderfoot. I'm busy. Foreman Granger. Mind those words don't come out of your... Shit. Silas still on about that. Here, take the fees. Because they're not my fees, and not my gravesite. Guy I worked with shot himself. I paid the bill. If you're not familiar with board law, you ought to be. Law requires delinquent gravesite fees to be paid by the deceased party's closest living relative, which meant me. Shame, though. Eugene was a good worker. Woke up one morning and put a round through his upper story. Can't imagine why. The kid was doing all right at his desk. We all thought he was an upstanding receptionist. Just between the two of us, I'm pretty shocked his weapon didn't misfire. Spacers? Eugene wasn't family. Yeah, I was the closest living person relative to his body at time of death. I'm the one who found him, you see, so I pay the fines. Suicide's a crime. The legal term is irreparable damage to company property. What Eugene did to himself... First of all, that's a horrible thing to say. Secondly, yes, we did. When one of your workers commits a crime, the entire town pays for it. In other words, Edgewater would have been penalized pretty hard. Well, excuse you. I'll have you know, Eugene was an asset to us all. May his atoms be commended to the law. All I know is Silas asked me for Eugene's gravesite fees, which means he was approved for burial, which means his papers went through, which means the town's in the clear. I'm just glad to put this whole...
sorry. I'll just be a minute.
You had a minute. Next one comes out of your head.
Wonder if the plague's ever gonna pass.
Just keep working. Work fortifies the spirit.
Another day at the cannery.
Don't go knocking your work. At least we've got work.
The grease monkey, Argo?
I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson, sir. You asked why it's taking so long to fix. The answer's technical.
Don't apologize. Just try using small words for me.
The cans bust open in the oven because she's set to cook saltuna, which isn't what we've got. Mr. Thompson?
Seems we've got a guest. Really now, Parvati, I do wish you'd spoken up. I do apologize. I was given no forewarning of your arrival, or I might have welcomed you at the gates myself. I'm Reed Thompson, Outpost Administrator. I must say, wearing a Marauder's outfit is in very poor taste. I do wish you'd show your uniform a little more respect. Yes, so it dawns on me. Seems I allowed my excitement to run away with my wits.
Only regulator we got is hooked up to the town transformer. Mr. Thompson ain't liable to be keen on dismantling it.
I beg your pardon. I am most emphatically not keen on any such thing. I can't let you have our power regulator. But I happen to know of another one. And I happen to know exactly how you may retrieve it with... There's a power regulator in the old botanical lab. It's mostly abandoned, so all that power is being squandered. Go down to the geothermal plant. Reroute power. I was not entirely sure how to tell you this. The people living in the botanical labs, they're deserters, former workers. I need them back at their posts. I need them to come home. My hope is that by cutting off their power, you will convince those deserters to come back to town. Before you go to the plant, I want you to stop by the botanical lab. Speak to their leader, Adelaide. Tell her the power's about to go, and that it's time her band...
My dad told me all about the plant. Taught me all he knew. I could come in useful. I mean, if that's all right with you, Mr. Thompson. Sir.
I hesitate to part ways with Miss Holcomb, but I cannot deny that she is talented, and may prove useful to you. You will need an administrative passcode in order to enter the plant.
Great! I got my wrenches and diagnosticators and hairpins and engine tape, so I'm all set.
Well, I am glad to hear that. If you could see your way to getting us our power... Go ahead. It is my job to keep two eyes on my town. I'm trying to remember 25 years, 26. When you get to my age, the years just rush by. You stop counting altogether. I remember looking out this window and seeing the veils spread out from horizon to horizon. We were a sprawling town. We were booming. Times change. People change. I wish you wouldn't say things like that. I expect you wouldn't understand. You don't see the town as I do. When I stand at my window and look out over my town, here's what I see. I see decent, loyal, hard-working people. I see a family. We are all part of the Spacer's Choice family. This is a Spacer's Choice town. We're all part of the Spacer's Choice family here. The company keeps us warm, keeps us fed, keeps us working. Loyalty's got nothing. Go ahead. That you are not one of us may work to your advantage. Adelaide and her folk loathe the people of Edgewater, you see. I admit the fault was mine. I'm about as diplomatic as a bristling canid. I must. The burden of leadership is responsibility. If my workers walked out on Edgewater, then I have failed them. Yes, we have lost good workers to desertion. Losing Adelaide was the hardest. She was our only flavor specialist. When she walked away, I knew we were in trouble. Spacer's Choice Saltuna is renowned across the system for its quality flavors and additives. We used to sell citrus-flavored Saltuna in our heyday. Ever since Adelaide left... Go ahead. Adelaide was our only flavor specialist. We are a Saltuna canning institution. Saltuna without flavor is like a cysty pig without tumors, borderline inedible. Were it up to me, friend, I'd stack our larders with Saltuna galore. No other brand of Saltuna adds as much vim or vigor to the body's humors. But, and this is something we must keep between the... Every meal. Hold on there, friend. This... Go ahead. Can we not? Talking about unpleasant things always. If I had enough medicine... It is not easy for me. And the moment it becomes easy is the moment I am no longer fit to serve. Spacer's Choice. That I cannot say. There was no moment when the plagues began. Disease always lurks on the fringes of society, waiting to infect the idle and the lethargic. But in the last 10 years, the corporate doesn't like us using the word should. It encourages the imagination. I believe plague is... Go ahead. That you or not one of us may work to your advantage. Adelaide and her folk loathe the people of Edgewater, you see. I admit the fault was mine. I'm about as diplomatic as a bristling... Scripture tells us we all have our purpose in the world. Our work shows us that purpose. We should not have to move on from it. Yes, we have lost good workers to desertion. We have lost even more to... Go ahead. That you or not one of us may work to your advantage. Adelaide and her folk loathe the people of Edgewater, you see. I admit the fault was mine. Nature is uglier. There is safety here. Safety and purpose. But not all of us see that, and I cannot force that vision upon them. Yes, we have lost good workers to... Go ahead. Can we not? Talking about unpleasant things always gets my bile up.
Hey, mister, can we talk? Sorry. Can we talk? Sorry. You just want to get out of here. And you likely don't want to tag along like me. It's just... Mr. Thompson has his own view on matters, on account of it's his job and what all, but that's not the only side of the tale. To Mr. Thompson, a person's a gear. It does its job quiet-like. If it squeaks or stutters, it gets replaced. The deserters are decent folk. I knew some of them before they left. Life's hard here, especially for them that don't fit in so well. We're one big Spacer's Choice family, but every family's got the one the rest whisper about. Mr. Thompson's aiming to take away their power. They'll have no lights to see, nor heat to cook. They'll be at the mercy of marauders, or worse. I think you should talk to the town's vicar about it. Max, his name is. Thanks, mister. I just think when you gotta make a decision that'll hurt somebody, it's best to think on the right and wrong of it. That's what my dad used to say anyways. I've always felt weird in here. It's too clean.
Any progress on that matter we discussed? Ah, Miss Holcomb. How rare to see you out. And with a complete stranger. Curious.
This here's Vicar DeSoto. He's always offering spiritual counsel to those that need it.
Thank you for the kind assessment, Miss Holcomb. I admit, I've been quite interested to make our outsider's acquaintance. Please get it. What would you like to discuss?
But what? I thought you would talk to him.
You wanted to speak to me, Ms. Holcomb? Every time I've tried to engage you in conversation, you look at the floor, answer in single words, and slink away. I can't imagine what would be so grave as to drive her to my mission. What is... That seems well within your expertise.
The way we do it's by cutting off power to the others. The ones who left.
Adelaide McDevitt's encampment. I can see why that troubles you. Miss Holcomb has a soft heart. Always has, if you believe the talk. I see today we'll be conversing without metaphors. I'd guess her condition is incurable. It's unlikely to be fatal, but she may feel more heartache than most.
Could you maybe stop talking about me like I'm some kind of weird bug?
They rejected the order of society and live beyond the walls so thoughtfully provided by our Spacer's Choice patrons. Does that strike you as a responsible life choice? Assuming your goal is to save as many as possible, then you should bring everyone together. Send the power to Edgewater and convince the deserters to return to the fold. Not if things are left to stand as they are.
This is where the magic happens. Well, science. Hey, that's... I mean, if you need it. Okay.
Friend of mine died a couple weeks back. Still ain't past it.
At least you got your help.